people of the internet, citizens of the internet. Woke up this morning to some news that your boy Tucker Carlson lost his job at Fox News. How did this happen? Well, it does look like he was probably let go because he didn't do a sign off. They said that his last show was the broadcast he did Friday. And this is a early Monday morning announcement that I got as a text message from a friend. So, of course, a lot of the commentators, aside from myself, were quick to respond to this. And a lot of them had some good takes, and some of them had not so good takes. But let's watch a couple of those real quick, or pieces of them anyway. And let's talk about, some of the nuance of this little story here, because it's an interesting one. So let's start with Russell from Do Dissidents. He has some pretty good stuff to say.
All right. So today we heard from Don Barzini that two of our most beloved anchors have been whacked out. They have been...
I forgot to mention your boy Don Lemon was also let go.
Removed from the family.
Today I settled all family business.
Tucker Carlson, Don Lemon, both whacked out on the same day. So Fox News dropped this little item, very short, very sweet, for dropping basically the only reason that anybody watches their network, who is at 93. So
very solid point, Russell. Who cares about Fox News outside of Tucker Carlson? He's the only person on the channel doing anything interesting.
We'll take a look at that. I thought you were doing this stuff. I thought we got. I think our producer is stoned. I think he's stoned.
I am. Is that a problem?
420. Fox News Media and Tucker Carlson have agreed to part ways. We thank him for his service to the network as a host, and prior to that, as a contributor. Mr. Carlson's last program was Friday, April 21st. Fox News Tonight will air live at 8, starting this evening as an interim show helmed by rotating Fox personalities until a new host is named. Well,
so there is the... Actually, I want to hear Russell. Russell has some interesting stuff.
Reason that anyone would belong. That eliminates any reason that anyone would watch Fox. We just covered Fox with a segment where, remarkably, Tucker Carlson defended the Uhuru socialists who were just arrested on Russiagate charges.
Maybe that's why he was fired.
You'll never see anything like that anywhere else in the corporate media. He was the only voice, not just on Fox. He was really the only voice in corporate media that in any way would violate the narrative. Now, we can only speculate. It seems a little strange that this happened right after the Dominion lawsuit was settled. It's unclear whether that's in any way related. But Tucker Carlson has raised the question for years, I think, in the minds of a lot of us.
This is good right here.
Particularly on the left. Why are they letting him do this? Why are they letting him get away with this? Why are they letting him be anti-war? Half of Tucker Carlson's episodes and half of his segments sounded like something that you would have on if we actually had a real left news station, if MSNBC were actually on the left. A lot of his segments sounded like what you might hear on a
actual station.
Like that. It was very strange. It's something we have talked about a lot on the show, that Tucker Carlson in many of his segments was the most left-wing person on the air, making it very confusing what constitutes left and right anymore, with his takes on Ukraine, with his takes on free speech. Is that what got him fired? Did they finally say, did he go too far? Were the socialists, was defending African socialists, African American socialists a step too far? We don't know. We're waiting for more news to come out.
We'll find out, but that's not going to stop other left voices from speculating. So I thought Russell's commentary was great, and the things he had to say were very relevant. And of course, he's someone from the Bernie left who has integrity, and the Due Dissidents crew are people with integrity. But I wanted to show you what Kyle Kalinske said. Actually, his hair's back to normal. That's interesting. But listen to some of this. Let's listen to some of this.
All right, guys, we got some big breaking news. News that is so big that I'm currently recording in the kitchen of the studio. Okay, so Axios is reporting that Fox News and Tucker Carlson have parted ways. That is their language, not mine. I would probably feel comfortable using the language that his ass was fired. So they say Fox News on Monday said the network and its star primetime host Tucker Carlson have agreed to part ways after more than a decade. Carlson's last program was Friday, April 21st. Fox News said, meaning Carlson did not get a chance to sign off to his viewers. That's a pretty big piece of context there, because it shows you this was not amicable.
Yeah,
they were pissed.
He's right about that.
Abrupt ending to the show. The news comes days after Fox News reached a historic 11th hour settlement with Dominion Voting Systems for over $787 million. Then they go on to say Fox News Tonight will air live at 8 p.m. starting this evening as an interim show helmed by rotating Fox News personalities until a new host is named. The network said it thanked Carlson, quote, for his service to the network as a host and prior to that as a contributor. Okay, so what do we know about this?
Let's hear what he says.
Officially, the answer is not much. We don't know that much. But my speculation is that this has to do not only with the Dominion case, but also with the Smartmatic case. Because, him and Hannity and Laura Ingraham have already cost the company $787 million. Smartmatic is now saying they're not going to settle for anything less than that $787 million.
So it's very odd to me that liberals like Kyle, and I call him a liberal loosely because he's pretty much a liberal, like he's repeating most of the stuff that you would hear on MSNBC, but watching these liberal commentators stand for Dominion voting and Smartmatic voting because they're suing Fox News, like, yeah, get Fox News, as if Fox News is in any way different than MSNBC or CNN. Anyway, let's keep going for a minute. Let's see. I think the reason I wanted to watch Kyle was just to see what he's saying about Tucker Carlson, because I never really hear him talk about Tucker Carlson. And so let's listen.
And a full retraction and apology. They were able to get away with a semi-apology, admitting to wrongdoing. With Dominion, Smartmatic says they're going to draw an even harder line. So look, the company, that's a big hit to any company. That's a giant hit. And so maybe they got to pinch their pennies a little bit. Maybe they felt like, in his case in particular, the evidence was damning that Dominion, but now Smartmatic, could probably prove actual malice in terms of not only were they pushing the rigged election lie, but also with Tucker, we know he didn't believe it. He thought it was total BS, but he still.
So I do not think that that's true. I don't have any evidence to back that up, but I don't even know the details of this case. What was Fox News claiming exactly, and what that Dominion did? But I'm definitely not a fan of companies that make voting machines. Let's keep going.
Still went on air and pushed it anyway. That's pretty damning. When you have text messages that have Tucker Carlson saying, "I hate Donald Trump with a burning passion." You have him saying, like, all this stuff isn't true, it's ridiculous. And then you have him going out there and feeding that slop to the audience because he feels like that's what they want to hear. And
so again, I don't believe any of this is true. I didn't see Tucker Carlson spreading election misinformation or election denialism. But maybe I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, please put a clip in the comments.
And so he's clearly audience captured. I mean, look, as the old saying.
Okay, again, the thing is about Tucker Carlson has been the most honest guy on TV for the last couple of years because he doesn't have any advertisers. I think that's the main reason. That could be another reason Fox is like, okay, is this guy really is the juice really worth the squeeze here? We're not making a ton of money. He does have the largest viewership, but we're getting Chuck Schumer in Congress telling us we better stop airing footage contradictory of his January 6th narrative. We've got election companies that count votes that are foreign companies suing us over, defamatory comments or whatever. And to me, this feels like an op. It's like, why wouldn't you trust the companies that make machines that count the votes? Again, I'm not saying that Fox News didn't do anything wrong. I'm not saying that Dominion or these election companies did do anything wrong. What I'm saying is there's no nuance in Kyle's reporting. I don't see him presenting any data or anything here. He's just making defamatory claims towards Tucker Carlson.
He goes, it's like he flew a little too close to the sun. It was proven that he was totally two-faced. He was a liar on the air.
I don't think that was proven. And again, correct me if I'm wrong. Let me see the evidence, but I don't think that that's a fact. From what I've read, Tucker Carlson did not really back the claims. And he had some text messages about disliking Trump, but people change. Maybe he didn't know Trump at the time.
Say the opposite off air. In text messages with the others. And some people might say, well, why him, but not Laura Ingraham, not Sean Hannity? And honestly, I think the answer could be, or Janine Pirro, for example, she was one of the worst. There's just more evidence that he had a public position and a private position than the other one.
See, I keep waiting for Kyle to go, oh, it's also because Tucker Carlson's actually subversive and he talks about issues that are more close to the left and Fox is tired of serving that demographic.
I mean, there's evidence the other ones did too, but I think for him it was very over the top. It was very clear that he had a public position and a private position.
I don't think that's true, Kyle.
Hero to honestly make the argument that she may have actually come to believe.
Now, someone like her, I think I've seen her. She's batshit. She's like actually crazy. Tucker Carlson is a lot more. He definitely says some stuff that's out there, but anyway, let's keep
to stop the steal rigged election nonsense, which might not sound like much of a defense, but it kind of is a defense in the court of law because it's like I'm saying
again, rigged election nonsense. These people have zero perspective. Do you remember, Kyle, when Al Gore lost the election? Would you be an election denialist if you said, if you argued in court about the hanging chads, is that election denialism? Was 4 years of pretending the guy who won in 2016 was a secret Russian spy and still pretending was that election denialism? But because people have doubts about what some companies' counts are, they're election denialists. This whole thing is really weird to me.
Saying these things because I believe them to be true. So then you can't prove that, the defamation was intentional and there was malice there. And the whole point was to hurt the reputation of the company. If you say, look, I really believed it. I really believed every angle of it. Whereas with Tucker, it's very clear he didn't believe it. He knew it wasn't true. And he still pushed the narrative anyway. So look, this story's new where we just got it. I'll definitely keep my eye out to see any kind of updates that we might get because, I get this. That's thing. An advertiser boycott after this Dominion case and
Tucker Carlson didn't have any advertisers.
Catered catered to the fringe extremists quite a bit. You know, there was that big story about how he had an open white nationalist who was like his top producer on the show or something. Nobody even talks about that. Nobody batted an eyelash. But that's a big deal, man. Like, just out and out, complete and utter extremism. And he flew a little too close to the sun. He was playing footsie. There's probably stuff about the story we don't know. But Tucker Carlson, don't get it twisted. I don't care what Orwellian language they use. He was fired from Fox News. And my best guess is it has to do with the Dominion case and the Smartmatic case and those text messages. But maybe there's something we don't know, but we probably will know it soon.
Okay. I've been giving Kyle the benefit of the doubt for the last little while. But wow, what terribly tone deaf, ignorant commentary that is. You saw the difference between a guy like Russ at Do Dissidents, who's actually knows what he's talking about and had some complimentary things to say about Tucker. At no point did Kyle mention Tucker defending the black leftists. At no point did Tucker mention the January 6th footage that exonerated the crazy bull hat guy who's now out of jail thanks to Tucker Carlson. At no point did Kyle add any depth or anything to his argument. He's just like, wow, those Dominion election guys really got Tucker Carlson and he's a white supremacist. Wow, I'm going to go make a video with Crystal now. All right, guys, my hair's not blonde anymore. Wow. At one point, I think Russell said something about how if Kyle started now, he wouldn't have the audience that he has. And I believe that is 100% true. Because why watch Kyle? Why watch these guys? You know, why watch Sam Cedar or Kyle or, you know, the leftist mafia, these people? They're basically saying the same things that MSNBC is saying, you know, and they're probably getting money from a lot of the same interests. Who knows? Maybe not. I don't want to make that accusation without any basis for it. All I know is it's odd to me that in independent media, you know, the whole purpose of it is to have your own lane and be able to say the things you want to say, not, you know, regurgitate popular narratives. Like in this case where it's like, oh yeah, Fox is evil propaganda and Dominion election systems and this other company, Smartmatic, are good people. Do you realize that Dominion election, like, just to read you a little bit off their wiki, Dominion Voting Systems Corporation is a company that produces and sells electronic voting hardware and software, including voting machines and tabulators in Canada and the United States. The company's headquarters are in Toronto, Ontario, where it was founded, and it has an alternate headquarters in Denver. It develops software in offices in the United States, Canada, and Serbia. Dominion produces electronic voting machines which allow voters to cast their votes electronically, as well as optical scanning devices used to tabulate paper ballots. And we must defend the good people of Dominion Voting, a non-American company who apparently had a big part in our last election. And wow, it's just it's just mind-numbing to watch people like Kyle, who I used to, you know, trust and kind of go to for information and some depth on issues. You know, I mean, this was a quick video he just threw up, so maybe I'm being a little harsh on him, but you saw the difference. I mean, Russell from Do Dissidents actually had kind of a, you know, a nuanced case. You know, he didn't just come out and regurgitate the MSNBC stuff. Oh, Fox News is a bunch of liars and Tucker's a white supremacist and I'm Kyle. So we'll watch this space. My guess is that Tucker was watching people like Glenn Greenwald and Matt Taibbi grow their own audiences independently and going like, why am by not doing this. I don't know if you saw him on the Full Send podcast either. See, that's another thing with Kyle. It's like Tucker was just on the Full Send podcast and he basically apologized for being in support of the Iraq war. He said it was one of his worst mistakes. And it's just like, none of that factors into anything Kyle said. None of Tucker's subversive reporting or any of that factors into anything Kyle said. It's all just this Trump derangement stuff about he said some texts. They dug out some texts of him saying he didn't like Trump a couple of years ago, and then he reported skeptically about Dominion voting systems. That's what I've gathered so far. I haven't, again, I should probably do some more research into what the case entails, but it's a really odd thing to see. I mean, there are instances in situations like this where both people are not great people, and I'm not saying Tucker's a bad person. I actually like Tucker. Showing my bias, I think he's one of the few people, like Russ said, who's been doing good reporting over the last several years, probably because he has no advertisers and he's called a white supremacist by mental midgets like Kyle here. Anyway, this is an interesting development. Also, Don Lemon was let go. I'm sure Russell brings up a point that's great there. I think everyone kind of saw that coming. Don Lemon, that was after the stuff that's been going on there. They've been reshuffling. Now they have, the Real Housewives of CNN thing, and he's saying bad stuff about women. And anyway, this is kind of a gossip story. For the most part, we'll see where Tucker ends up. My guess is that he's going to be independent like everyone else is now, that already has a brand like he does. And maybe he'll do a lot better work. It seems like if you've seen him on the Full Send podcast and the stuff he's been doing lately, he's been doing good. He's been doing good work in the mainstream, and Fox, I guess, can't have that anymore. It's just so odd because, like Russell said, he's the only thing that anyone watches on Fox, unless they're like 95. So, like I said, the juice must not have been worth the squeeze anymore. So we'll see what happens to Tucker. Good luck to you, sir. Take care of yourselves out there.